to the Spring Classics that runs through Aqueduct Racetrack in New York. This Gotham Trophy, the third of New York's 4 major Derby preps, has been won by such stars of the turf as Jaipur, Dr. Fager, the legendary Secretariat, and 1989's track record setter Easy Goer. Other Gotham winners who went on to be the post-time favorites for the Kentucky Derby include Air Forbes 1 in 1982 and the 1988 Gotham winner, Private Terms. Now in 1991, it's time again for New York to showcase some of its leading candidates for the classics to come. ESPN presents Budweiser Racing Across America. Brought to you by Budweiser. Nothing beats the excitement of horse racing, and nothing beats a Bud. By Racing Times, there's more to racing than just the form. And by DeBartolo Racing, leading the way to the 21st century. The Gotham Stakes is live from New York, next on ESPN. Aqueduct Racetrack in the borough of Queens at the New York home of winter racing. This afternoon, we come to one of the main stops, the eastern route to the Triple Crown, for our coverage of the 1991 Gotham Stakes. And hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Welcome to New York's Big A, and of course to the stop on the route to the Triple Crown, the 39th renewal of the Gotham Stakes. And as we told you in the opening of the show, New York has a proud tradition of Triple Crown horses. And the Gotham fits in as the third leg of 4, leading to the Kentucky Derby that is today 1 month away. The series starts here in New York early in March with the Swift Stakes, that at 6 furlongs. Then on to the Bay Shore at 7/8 of a mile. Now we move into April with the Gotham at a mile, and in 2 weeks, it's the Wood Memorial, a mile and 1/8, grade 1 for $500,000. Right now, let's check our conditions this afternoon for racing at the Gotham. $250,000 guaranteed purse in this grade 2 event. The 3-year-old Derby horses tested at a 1-turn mile on the main mile and 1/8 oval here at Aqueduct. The weather, it is a beautiful spring afternoon, a bit breezy here, but temperatures in the low 70s, clear skies overhead here in New York. Now let's talk about the racetrack, and as for the week, it remains a fast racing strip this afternoon. Joining me now, the voice of New York racing, the man who called the Gotham for us as well this afternoon, Tom Durkin.
Well, Chris, at the top of the show, you mentioned 2 Gotham winners, 2 great horses, Secretariat and Easy Goer. They were champions as 2-year-olds, and really, even when they were yearlings, they were marked as Triple Crown competitors. They really had very little to prove in the Gotham Mile. Not so with the horses today. Most of these will have to prove one of 2 things. A, that they can get that mile distance and show encouraging signs for the longer races ahead, and or B, that they can handle grade 2 competition, and the grade 1s, of course, coming up in the weeks ahead.
Tom, I guess because it's 4 weeks away, we are so locked into the Kentucky Derby, the Triple Crown, but there are certainly more options for 3-year-olds than those 3 races.
Options, I suppose you could say so. There's something like 80 graded stakes to be run this year for 3-year-olds. And you don't have to run in a lengthy Triple Crown race to be considered a good horse. Dr. Fager, who won this race, a great example. He was perhaps the greatest miler of all time. What this Gotham could do is point horses toward the Triple Crown or to other, shorter, and also lucrative races.
Well, only the future will tell if we have any Triple Crown candidates here or great milers in the future. But right now, let's introduce the field for the Gotham of 91.
All right, and we have a field of 8 to face the starter today. Vouch for me with Carl Gambardella, King Mutessa, and his New York jockey, Mike Smith. Colonel Hill, trained by Leroy Jolly, will be a long price today. Mineral Ice and his partner, Lafitte Pincon Jr., Mineral Ice, the winner of the 6 furlong Swift. Kyle's Our Man, winner of the Grade 3 Nashua here in December. Another review who just turned in an eye-catching 12-length score here. Dodge, undefeated in 2 career starts for a guy named D. Wayne Lucas. And Stately Wager, Chris, We mentioned that some horses had to prove themselves in this race. He's the one that really doesn't. That's why he's the morning line favorite.
Well, we talk about this race. Most people are used to thinking about a mile oval, around 2 turns. Not so at Aqueduct. It's a 1-turn mile here.
Well, on the main track, we run 1-turn miles out of a chute. There you see, the start of the race is just a couple hundred yards from Kennedy Airport. A long, straight, half-mile run before they hit that first and only turn, which is a relatively mild turn, not very sharp at all. And then they come to the top of the stretch where the crowd roars, as they are doing right now as the horses come down. Comparatively, the stretch is 80 feet shorter than that at Churchill Downs and just a few feet longer than the one at Pimlico.
Now, Tom, as a 1-turn mile, does that mean it's a sprint today?
Well, that depends on how you define a sprint. Certain horses, though, do have an advantage in a 1-turn mile. Easy Goer was a textbook example, a big, long-striding horse that can not be compromised with that long stride around 2 sharp turns. The horses that are at a disadvantage are, well, short, blockier kinds of sprinters. In particular, sprinters that are headstrong that might run away with that jockey down that long half-mile straight and be cooked before they even hit a turn.
Well, the morning line maker here must feel Stately Wager fits the perfect description of a 1-turn miler at Aqueduct. He's installed him as the strong 5-2 morning line favorite. And to introduce him to you now, let's go to the walking ring and join Sandra Neal.
Well, thank you, Chris. You know, Stanley Shapoff, nicknamed Skippy, is a familiar name here in New York as a trainer. Every year he seems to saddle a stakes horse, and in 1989 he had 2, Forever Silver and Expensive Decision. This year he's conditioning the Bet Big colt Stately Wager. Now he's going for his 3rd consecutive stakes victory in a row. And if he does well today, both could be Derby bound.
Well, my father ran a horse in the Derby in 1926, I believe it was, and I ran one in 1974, so I made a statement at that time that the Shapoffs are very consistent. We run a horse in the Derby every 49 years.
Listening to the sound of my old Kentucky home would ring true for this Louisville native. He's yet to win the Derby, but came close in '74 with Hudson County's 2nd-place finish. And in '91, this 51-year training veteran is hoping to eclipse that record with Stately Wager. This bay colt with the lightning bolt marking has risen from obscurity as a 2-year-old to become New York's leading Kentucky Derby contender. He fortified that position 2 weeks ago with an impressive win in the Bayshore.
Well, he just matured and became a better horse. That happens sometimes. A lot of times the horses, as they get older, they get better. Sometimes you get a 2-year-old, a Star's a 2-year-old, and he just fails as a 3-year-old, but it works both ways.
It would have been 3 stakes wins in a row had Stately Wager not been disqualified from first for drifting out in the Count Fleet Stakes. But Shapoff says his colt was just looking for company, just like another Derby contender racing in Florida.
When he did that, he was looking for Fly So Free. But they tell me the Fly So Free was looking for him when he did it in Florida.
They could find each other in Kentucky if Stately Wager and regular rider Jorge Chavez continue their winning ways in the Gotham.
I think the best quality of Stately Wager is that he has that strong middle move. He makes a tremendous move. And Chavez rides him so well. I hope he gets to the front at some point where he doesn't have to look around for other horses. And I hope it's clear at the finish line.
As we go to the break, the sights and sounds of downtown New York City, or as Glenn Mathis, new director of information, told us, that's another word for Gotham. And the New York Racing Association tracks, Aqueduct, Belmont, Saratoga, all members of the Thoroughbred Racing Associations. And with me now, the new executive vice president here of the NYRA, Mr. Jerry Lawrence. Jerry, Aqueduct, as people know, is, my gosh, been part of the racing scene here since the late 1800s, was reopened in 1959. All kinds of talk from the political halls to the press area about the future of Aqueduct. Just what is it?
There is a lot of conversation about the future of Aqueduct, Chris, but this is a great facility, one of the fine racing plants in America. And we feel that while we're talking about our future with the state, that Aqueduct will be here through the remainder of this decade, and hopefully we'll see the year 2000.
Well, you're certainly making plans for the future with some very innovative and exciting new ways for the fans to get involved wagering with the NYRA.
Right. We've decided here that we've got to be competitive like everybody else in racing across the country, and we've taken advantage of modern technology and offer our patrons multiple ways of wagering, such as self-activated machines where they can bet with vouchers, with small terminals at their tables. Telephone betting is coming, and now we have NYRA account cards where individuals can put money on deposit with Naira. Take this card up to a SAM machine, and just like your bank machine, you can get a voucher out and bet against it, and it's part of the wave of the future.
Rich Brown, the new head of marketing, told me customer service has become one of the keys here at Naira.
Customer service has become a key, and following a customer service training program last year, it was obvious from our employees that they wanted customer service training, so 20 of our supervisors have designed a program which will start Monday for 80 supervisors in training people in customer service.
Jerry, thank you very much.
Chris, thank you.
Jerry Lawrence, Executive Vice President of the New York Racing Association. And speaking of New York, it seems like that it's a real hometown flavor here for the Gotham today. These New York horses have pretty much stayed in New York to prep for the Kentucky Derby lying ahead. And the man who's seen and called all of them, of course, is Tom Durkin, as he introduces us now to the Gotham horses from Gotham.
Let's start with Mineral Ice, who defeated Stately Wager last year and was victorious in New York's first Triple Crown prep, the 6 furlong Swift. But he couldn't handle Stately Wager or the 7 furlongs of the Bayshore, and has come up empty in his only 2 tries at a mile or more. So, how does trainer Carlos Martin figure to stretch his sprinter's speed over the 8 furlongs of the Gotham?
Well, we've changed his training schedule a little bit. We've started to gallop them a lot longer in the mornings. Usually we gallop the horses about a mile and 5/8 to a mile and 3/4. Mineral Ice, we've been galloping 2 miles regularly for the Gotham, trying to increase his stamina. Not fast gallops, just slow and easy, but twice around the racetrack instead of once around, which is normal for him.
And is it normal for the grandson of a Hall of Fame trainer like Frank Martin to ask a sprinter to stretch out? It is when you have 250,000 reasons to try. Another victim of Stately Wager who might not relish the mile distance is Another Review, but for a totally different reason. The son of Buckaroo is turning back to 8 furlongs after an impressive romp in a 9 furlong allowance race in his last start. Another Review not only earned rave reviews for his efforts, but also received the highest speed figure recorded by any Gotham starter, and that includes Stately Wager. Can he repeat against quicker foes at a shorter distance? And then there's King Mutesa, who was beaten by today's favorite in the Whirlaway back in February. That loss didn't raise nearly as many questions for trainer Frank Alexander as did his recent 12-length drubbing in the Tessio Stakes at Laurel.
I still don't know what happened in Maryland. We just attribute it to maybe he didn't like the racetrack. His races, and he ran a little close. He was only 10 days in between that allowance race, and we trained him maybe just a little too hard. I don't know. It's just a mystery right now. So hopefully he'll redeem himself on Saturday.
That allowance race Alexander spoke of was the Colts' first in blinkers. Mike Smith, possibly the most confident jockey extant, has King Mutesa under a hold all the way to the wire as he wins by a well-measured neck. The margin could have been the neck of a giraffe. So, the question for today, could it be the King? Or perhaps there's another joker in the deck, ready to trump the Gotham ace, Stately Wager.
Well, the Colts may have the aces, but there is only one queen in racing right now, and that is, of course, the undefeated filly, Meadow Star. With me now, her trainer, Hall of Famer, Leroy Jolly. Leroy, you're preparing Meadow Star towards the Kentucky Derby. You've been there, done it before with genuine risk. Let's talk about her preparation, how she's getting ready for it.
Well, she's had the 2 races here at Aqueduct, 1 7 furlongs, 1 a mile, and she's going to run here on April the 20th in the Wood Memorial at a mile and an 1/8, and if she runs well in that race, by then we'll go down to the Kentucky Derby.
There she is working on Friday at Belmont. How'd she go?
Well, she was just galloping a mile and a half that day, and this week has been put in with some long gallops. And then on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the racetrack, if it rains or if it doesn't rain, why, she'll have a 7 furlong work and then come back the following Wednesday and go 5 furlongs, and that's it.
She hasn't been around 2 turns yet. Let's talk about advantages, though, she has in the wood in your mind.
Well, she's been carrying the same weight all spring. She's been carrying 121, which she will carry in all of these races. The Colts have to pick up a great deal of additional weight. In the Wood Memorial, the Colts for the first time will carry 126 pounds. And, you know, having run in the race with Colts several times, the first time you carry 126, it is a burden, and it does seem to stun them a little bit. So if she has an advantage, it's probably this time with the weights.
There, I know also you've got Colonel Hill just came into the paddock. You got some saddling to do here at the Gotham. How's this colt?
Well, he's a good, big, strong horse, and he's trained well. He didn't like the muddy track very well, and I hope he'll like this one a lot better today.
Leroy, good luck today. I know you'll have also a special eye on the San Anita Derby, so good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Leroy Jolly, our Hall of Fame trainer here, who, of course, has Colonel Hill in this race, and Meadow Star getting ready for the Wood. Well, the sport of racing lost one of its great voices with the passing of Fred Capossela, and Tom Durkin has some reflections.
Whenever anyone asks me what I do for a living and I tell them that I call the races at Aqueduct, 9 out of 10 people will respond by saying, "You mean just like Fred Capossela?" He's still remembered after retirement 20 years ago. He called the races here at the New York tracks for almost 40 years. He was probably the most famous race caller of all time, but I can tell you he was undoubtedly the most beloved. The fans loved Cappy. I had the opportunity to meet him on a number of occasions. I'll remember him as a great race caller, but I'll also remember him as being a wonderfully warm, wonderfully kind, and gentle man. He was 88 years old.
Then come on up onto the top walking ring here to put the jockeys up. Well, you know, last year's Gotham winner went on to compete in the Triple Crown and run second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. And it gives us an opportunity to look back at that race and to one of the biggest payoffs in our Budweiser Long Shot Series history. The 38th running of the Gotham Stakes proved to be a shocker of a race, except, of course, for our own Tom Durkin and the late Pete Axtell.
Use 36 red. He's not 36 anymore, but his hair still has traces of red. Not a bad exacta. A first ever, the Bud Exacta. Senor Pete, 36 red.
36 red, Senor Pete.
And the history of all our handicapping, up and down.
They're in the final furlong, and it is 36 red, grimly holding on to the lead. Senor Pete with one last run at him, but they're running out of ground, and it's going to be 36 red in a shocker here in the Gotham.
For trainer Nick Zito, the victory meant looking to the future. But for the Axe, the present was enough to celebrate.
Well, we're going to Wood Memorial, Pete, and if we get lucky, we'll go right to the Kentucky Derby.
Would you stop being so calm? Let's face the truth. We're going to go out and throw $100 bills up in the air as long as we can.
This look back has been brought to you by Claiborne Farm, where for more than a century, a great record reflects our experience.
Memories of a great payoff, more importantly, of a great friend lost, Pete Axtell. Well, big racing news here this week in New York. Wednesday, a special press conference call where it was finally unveiled. The Racing Times. And that, of course, is the new publication of Robert Maxwell's. They've announced the first publication date is April 13th. Joining me now, the editor-in-chief, Stephen Chris, who, by the way, quickly corrected me already. 36 Red was not second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He was third. That's why he's the expert. Congratulations on Racing Times. Tell us about some of the innovations, Steve.
Well, Chris, we're innovating in 2 areas, both in editorial and in past performances. We're going to cover the news like a real newspaper. We have the best writers in the business, and our past performances are going to have features that horse players have been screaming for years.
Well, the guts of any racing paper like this is, of course, that is the past performances. Let's be specific now. It's user-friendly to begin with and some very important numbers.
Very user-friendly. People will be able to start picking winners with it immediately. 2 big features in it. We'll have real speed figures, Andy Byers speed figures. They're in that vertical shaded column there for each horse. The higher the number, the faster the race. Also, we're going to have real trip notes, long, detailed ones, not just hung or outrun, but as you see there, an 8 to 10 word comment on every horse's last 3 starts.
Exciting. People looking forward to it. April 13th. It's all about to start. And again, for the fans' distribution, when do they see it?
They will see it at the racetracks. They'll see it on newsstands. We'll start out at 5 or 6 tracks, and we'll be up to all the big ones within a month.
Now let's talk about our race this afternoon, the Gotham Stakes. Who do you like, and what are some of your key points from the Racing Times?
Well, I think it's a good race to take a little bit of a shot, and that's what I'm going to do, Chris. Rather than going for stately wager, I'm going to try Kyle's Our Man, and I like him for 3 reasons. First off, he's coming up from Florida, and horses who winter in Florida tend to do very well when they come back up to New York. For a second thing, he's been running against much, much better horses than the one he's facing today, Fly So Free and that crew. And last year, as a 2-year-old, when he ran against the very best in New York, he ran some pretty big speed figures, good enough to win today.
Stephen, thank you much. All the best to you and your staff. Take a breath and get ready for April 13th.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Stephen Chris, the editor-in-chief of the Racing Times. All activity in the paddock now. We're going to join Sandra Neal, who's standing by with Damian Lucas, assistant trainer here. Karen McLaughlin, he's getting ready to put a jockey up on Dodge, an exciting 3-year-old you're about to hear more about. Sandra?
Well, Chris, this is the man who saddles the white bridles here in New York, Kieran McLaughlin. Now, Kieran, Dodge shipped in about 10 days ago here in New York. He's yet to race in New York. As a matter of fact, he was unraced at 2. Why was that?
Well, every time we worked him or breezed him a little bit at 2, getting ready, he spiked the temperature. We couldn't find anything wrong with him, and we ended up sending him home, and they found some abscesses in his lungs. Gave him some time, and he came back, went to Santa Anita with Wayne, and really impressed Wayne in the morning. He sent him on to Florida, and he's done everything right since then.
Now, Kieran, he's 2 for 2, 2 victories at Gulfstream Park, going 6 furlongs. Can Dodge go a mile?
Well, we'll find out shortly, but he sure acts like he'll go a mile.
Good luck to you. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Sandra. They have just had the call to the post here as the riders have been put up and are heading to the racetrack here for the Gotham Stakes. Jets roaring overhead here at Aqueduct. We're in the flight path of Kennedy Airport as you're taking a close look there at the 7-horse, and that is among our favorites here. That is Dodge, of course, the Lucas stable. There's the favorite, Stately Wager. That is the one that, of course, won the Bayshore and opened as the morning line favorite here. And on the board right now, Stately Wager remains the favorite to this point. Let's now update the odds for this 39th renewal of the Gotham Stakes. Vouch for Me at 9, King Matessa, along with Colonel Hill, double prices. Mineral Ice at 7-2, Kyle's Our Man 3-1. Another review at 10, Dodge at 9-2, and Stately Wager remains the favorite at 2-1. The horses have come on the track now. We're just about set for the post parade. Introduce you to the field, let you take a good look at these 3-year-olds that, well, who knows what aspirations they have. Some probably realize their models. Others may have still some of those Derby dreams now a month away. The field for the Gotham Stakes. Let's start with the Roan Colt. Vouch for Me, the pride of New England. Was the 1990 juvenile champion in New England. Was 3rd in the Bayshore in his only 91 start to this point. Vouch for Me, ridden by Carl Gambardella. And Carl Gambardella, veteran New England rider, has won more than 5,700 races. King Matessa. You see the K in the gavel. That indicates a Keeneland sale yearling, $65,000 purchase. 2nd in the Whirlaway, 4th in the Tessio, King Matessa, ridden by Mike Smith. He won, of course, last year's Gotham here on 36 Red. The 3-horse from Leroy Jolly's stable, this is Colonel Hill. The Maryland Shipper, 5th in the Bayshore by 11. He's by Belmont winner Temperance Hill. Jean Cruguet has the mount on Colonel Hill. His claim to fame, of course, you remember him, 1977, rode Seattle Slew to the Triple Crown. The 4-horse, this is Mineral Ice, the only one not Triple Crown nominated in our field today. He was the winner of the Swift, the first New York Prep, 2nd by a length and a quarter in the Bayshore, been 1st or 2nd in 4 of 5 starts in 91. The rider, Hall of Famer, flying in from California, Lafitte Pinkai Jr., the sport's all-time leading money-winning rider. 5-horse in the famed colors of Darby Dan Farm, Kyle's Our Man, trained by John Veach. Shipped from Florida after being a 4th in the Swale, 6th in the Fountain of Youth. Has certainly run against the best competition in this field. Has a Hall of Famer on his back. The Angel himself, Angel Cordero Jr., 2-time Gotham winner, 1970 and 1975. The 6-horse is Another Review. Broke his maiden and won an allowance in his last start by 12 at 1 1/8 on the Aqueduct inner track. A trouble 4th in the Whirlaway in his only stakes test. Richard Migliore is the rider. He is a past Gotham winner with Eternal Prince in 1985. The 7-horse from the D. Wayne Lucas stable and the W.T. Young Overbrook Farm silks there. This is Dodge, making his stakes debut. First time past 6 furlongs. He's royally bred by Mr. Prospector out of a Stormbird mare from W.T. Young and D. Wayne Lucas stable. You always keep an eye on those with a white bridle. Art Madrid Jr., the leading rider at Aqueduct Spring Meeting, has the mount today on Dodge. And rounding out our field, the 8-horse, this is the favorite, Stately Wager. Won the Bayshore and the Whirlaway, disqualified from 1st to 2nd in the Count Fleet. Race favorite and the leading money earner in the field. He has the riding services today of one of the hottest going, Jorge Chavez, since coming from Florida a year ago. This native of Peru has won the last 3 New York titles at Belmont and Aqueduct. That is the field for the 39th running of the $250,000 Gotham Stakes. They're 1 mile away from a first-place check of $150,000 on a fast track. They'll be heading to the starting gate. We'll be back in just a moment. To post first of New York's third leg of their 4-race series for the Kentucky Derby coming up. As you take a look at the odds now, Vouch for Me at 9-1, King Vitesse at 15, Colonel Hill at 19 is the longest price on the board. Mineral Ice 7-2, Kyle's Our Man at 3-1, second choice now. Another review at 10-1, Dodge 9-2, and Stately Wager remains the favorite at 2-1. Stately Wager is held as the favorite since the morning line was posted. The fans still like him. We know what you're looking for, especially with our Gotham reputation, is the Budweiser long shot for the Gotham Stakes.
Our horse, as today's Bud long shot, is Kyle's Our Man. In fact, our long shot has already beaten our favorite. In the Nashua Stakes here at the Big A last December, Kyle's Our Man whipped Stately Wager by almost 7 lengths over a sloppy inner track going a mile into 16th. But the promising victory was followed by some not so promising efforts. So, John, tell me, what happened to Our Man this winter?
Well, Tom, I took him to Florida, and I kind of got off on the wrong foot with him down there for some reason. He didn't respond to training. I don't know whether it was the hot weather or the racetrack at Gulfstream that he didn't like, but he did show a bit of improvement his last race at the Swale, and it was more of his old self, the stuff that he showed us as a 2-year-old. Bringing him back to Aqueduct, where he's run well in the past, I hope will make the difference.
Indeed, John, he has run well here in the past. That good third to Scan in the Remsen here also confirms his fondness for Aqueduct. And he has been working well, by the way. He drilled 3 furlongs Thursday in 34-2. Looks like Our Man could be on the lead today, and he could pull off the upset as our Budweiser long shot. Long shot? Number 5, Kyle's Our Man. You call this a long shot? No, friends. You demand a longer price than 3-1, and in the tradition of the Gotham Stakes Exacta, we're going to give you another review. The 6-horse here was a 10-1. Take Kyle's Our Man over another review. Another review just blossomed in his last race. He earned a huge speed figure. I think he's going to run very well today, and I think our Exacta maybe back-to-back 5-6. Chris?
All right, the 3-10, 5-6 Exacta, and you saw the prices of 3-1 and 10-1. We'll make note of that for you, Mr. Durkin. We'll head to the break, and right now it's 3 minutes to post. Here with the 8 3-year-olds will be thundering down here in just a matter of moments here for the Gotham Stakes. Sandra Neal has joined us right now. Sandra, let's talk about some of these others. They head to the post to make that long trip down the chute there to go to the starting gate. One you caught your eye, Mineral Ice.
Definitely. Now, they say this horse is a sprinter, but they're testing him out today. And I tell you, if Mineral Ice can race as fast as his trainer, Carlos Martin, can speak, he should do well today. An interesting story about Carlos Martin. He's 21 years old. He's bred to be a trainer. It's all in the family. And his dream has come true today. He's always wanted Lafitte Pinkai to race this horse, and he is on the mount.
Lafitte Pinkai Jr. just coming back, in fact, from a spill in California. We had a chance to visit with him earlier in the jockey's room to ask him about his recovery, just how long it's been since he's been out of action, and now coming, of course, for the Gotham mount.
Well, it took me 4 weeks. Today is my 4th week exactly that I had the accident. I started riding 4 days ago, and I feel pretty well. I'm lucky that I healed very quick, and I'm ready to start riding a lot of horses.
The Hall of Fame rider, Lafitte Pinkai Jr. It's post time. Let's go to the top of the stands and Tom Durkin.
Just a few more to load here for this 39th Gotham Mile. If the post parade were a beauty contest, it would go to Dodge. Waiting for Dodge and Stately Wager. Stately Wager came out with 4 bandages on, which is what he did in his last race. And he looked fine and fit. Dodge looking the best of them all. Expect to see Kyle's Our Man very close to the lead. They have been putting a lot of speed in this horse. He drilled the other day in 34-3, indicating that they probably intend to send him early. And hopefully he'll be able to stay at least for the Darby Dan Farm to stick around to the end. They're in the gate for the Gotham Mile. And they're off. And Kyle's Our Man jumps out quickly to the early lead. Dodge is also away in good order. Colonel Hill is there. Stately Wager is up close to the early pace. Then it's King Mutesa. Another review is only 2 lengths off the lead. Vouch for Me is the early trailer as they leave the chute and head for the main track. Kyle's Our Man pressed on the outside by Dodge. Colonel Hill is right there, down inside, racing in third position. Mineral Ice is just in behind the lead fourth. Stately Wager, with clear running, is 4 wide down the backstretch. Then it's King Mutesa. He's under a snug hold, saving ground in behind horses. Another Review is only 4.5 lengths from the lead. Vouch for Me is the trailer, and it's a tight pack chasing Kyle's Our Man over toward the far turn. The first quarter, 23 seconds played. Moving past the half-mile pole, Kyle's Our Man, and Cordero is committed to the lead here. He leads by 3/4 of a length. Dodge pressing on the outside second. Colonel Hill trying to keep up. Stately Wager is put to a drive now on the outside fourth. They've run a half in 45 3. They're moving toward the quarter pole, and it is Kyle's Our Man now who's beginning to edge away. He leads by 2 as they come toward the top of the stretch. Dodge is trying to stay with them, but he's dropping back 3 lengths off the lead now. And another Review is coming with his one. Stately Wager has dropped out of it. Vouch for Me on the far outside. Kyle's Our Man coming down to the 8 pole. He's pulling away with authority here. He leads by 5. Another Review now moves into second. On the outside, it's Vouch for Me. King Mutesa is putting in a late run, but they're not going to get to Kyle's Our Man, who strolls into Gotham, wire to wire, under Angel Cordero Jr. He wins it by 4, and King Mutesa was up 3 seconds. Another Review was third. Well, John Beach knows how to get him ready for the big ones, and this is what he did with Kyle's Our Man. Apparently, unlike a lot of humans, he didn't like it in Florida this year, but he loved it back here in Ozone Park. Kyle's Our Man scores in wire-to-wire style in 134 3.
Kyle's Our Man, his first stakes victory since the end of last year as a 2-year-old, right here at Aqueduct on the inner track. He won the Nashua under Jerry Bailey. Well, now he picks up the Hall of Famer Angel Cordero, and I think again, Santa, the difference was class, as Stephen Chris pointed out from Racing Times. And of course, our Bud Longshot originally, when we opened early on, has a victory here today. Maybe not a real big price, and we just missed the exacta too. But still, we'll take a win any time. But the difference had to be the company he ran in as we take a look at the replay.
Well, Chris, is this a surprise?
Watch Kyle's Our Man. He will find him on the lead center. I think as we were talking about here, the horses he's run with, horses like Fly So Free, Two Freedom, Richmond, Scan. He's obviously had better competition here.
He obviously likes the Gotham a lot better, the New York company, than Florida. And I'll tell you, one person that's happy, Kyle's Our Man, is named after golf great's first grandson, and I'm sure he's cheering today.
King Mutesa made such a strong run here on the rail. The 2-horse there you see in the white blinkers and just noses out. Another Review messing up our exacta. But we'll take a Bud Longshot, albeit at a short price. Kyle's Our Man has come back under Angel Cordero Jr. for the Darby Dan Farm and for trainer John Beach to score a stakes victory here on the road of the Triple Crown in New York. We'll find out what it all means when we come back.
Cadillac introduces
39th running of the Gotham Stakes. Kyle's Our Man, 1:34.69 the time in hundredths. That's now also the preferred time of the new Racing Times. King Mutesa was second. Another Review running third. Those are unofficial results at this point. Tom Durkin, as you look at Angel Cordero Jr. in the winner's circle, Tom Durkin's going to take another look at Kyle's Our Man and Angel on the lead.
Cordero, the master of the aggressive ride, Angel Cordero Jr. is. He put this horse directly on the lead. We'll pick up the horses as they head round that far turn. And Art Madrid tried to get to the lead with Dodge at this point. And Cordero riding very confidently. He does not even go to the whip at this point. Takes a peek back to see if anybody's coming up the inside. Because the inside of the track was very, very good today. Here he's just vigorously hand-riding this horse and just a tap or two to keep him going in the stretch. He got that final quarter in 25 1. That's okay because he just completed 3/4 of a mile in 109 2. Is this the look of a Triple Crown winner? Don't know. But there's still time yet. But it certainly was a very comprehensive victory today in the Gotham Mile.
Well, you're taking a look there at Angel Cordero Jr. and the famed Darby Dan colors. Of course, good news for the Darby Dan folks, and it's been a little tough lately for the Galbraith family there, but Darby Dan Farm has a winner here today as you take a look at our unofficial winner of the Gotham Stakes, Kyle's Our Man, heading back to the barn area out of the winner's circle for the first time since his last race as a 2-year-old. We'll be back with more of the story of the Gotham post-race and a big preview of another event right after this. 1991, Kyle Zarman, 134.69 the time, 846.44.40 the return for the Bud Long Shot. Not quite double digits like we like, but we'll take it. King Mutessa is $12.780. Another review, $760. The exactive 5-2, $104.20. Here's the full order of finish now. As you see, Kyle Zarman heading back to the barn area for his reward of the afternoon. Kyle Zarman, King Mutessa, another review. Vouch for Me, the New England Pride, was running 4th today. Dodge, the Dwayne Lucas horse, was 5th. Mineral Ice, the favorite stately wager, was 7th. And Colonel Hill running 8th. Now let's go to Sandra Neal with the winning trainer, John Veach.
Thank you, Chris. Well, John, it's obvious that Kyle Zarman loves New York. He won the Nashua last year. He won the Gotham now, so impressive. Was it your decision to keep him on the lead, and did you think he would win so impressively?
Well, it really wasn't my decision. Angel and I discussed, a little bit of strategy, and I told him that he'd have to do what he thought was best. He said that the horse broke on top, and when horses came to him, he really didn't want to relax, and he wanted to continue to run, and instead of fighting him and possibly taking something away from him, he let him go on about his business, and it did show us he's got another dimension.
The next step, John?
The next step will be the Wood.
Good for you. Lots of luck. Chris?
And we're with the winning rider, the Hall of Famer, Angel Cadero Jr. And Hal, we're going to take a look at this race, and you got him out there in a hurry.
He did. He broke very sharp, and my instruction from Jan just to let him run free the first part. And as you noticed there, he was the first one out of there. And I was hoping that the horse on the inside would have run me, and I took a nice hold on it, but nobody came close to him.
The Chestnut, the 5 horse. There you see Angel settling in on the inside in the Derby Dan, fawn and brown colors. Looks like you're trying to relax him a little bit. There's Dodge challenges you on the outside.
I was trying to get him behind them 2 horses and just trying to rate him there, but he was doing it so easy, and I felt very confident when I ride for John because he let me use my judgment. So I wasn't worried about him yelling at me after the race because I say he's got to be watching me that I'm just sitting on him. And I figure that he's been running with good horses all year around there, and if he's doing it that easy, and when I called for him in the stretch, he really exploded. He could have gone around one more time and win it again.
It looked like you were looking for some company as they came to the stretch. You kind of looking around for some other horses.
Well, I was expecting some of these horses to come running, and I was very surprised that nobody came close to him. And he finished real good, and he galloped out very strong. And he's a very well-bred horse, and John Beach is a good horseman, so this horse got everything going for him.
Now, the question, will they have Angel Cadero Jr. going for him in the Wood? I understand your agent, Frank Sanabria, did a good job getting them out on this. Has also got you with a call on Tong Po, the Maryland horse, who worked here earlier today.
Well, he's in a jam. I'm going to let him come out of that jam. He's on 2 good horses, and I'm going to let him decide. He's been a champion for 5 years, so I trust him with my eyes closed. Whatever he decides will be fine for me.
The King of New York. Here he is, the Angel, Angel Cadero Jr. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be back with some final thoughts here and a look ahead to a big show next week. Stay with us here as Angel Cadero Jr. comes, as he usually does, to the Winner's Circle in New York. The Gotham Stakes. Let's show you again the official prices here. As our Bud Longshot comes home the winner this afternoon, Kyle Zarman, the Derby Dan Farm, John Veach Stable, Angel Cadero riding 134.69. The payoff 846.44.40. King Mutessa second, another review third, 5-2 exacta, $104.20. We're already looking ahead, I've got to admit it, to a very big event on ESPN next week. We'll be at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas for the Oaklawn Handicap, featuring the nation's top 3 ranked thoroughbreds. According to the National Weekly Thoroughbred Racing Association poll, there they are, Farm Away, Jolie's Halo, and Unbridled. Let's take a look first at number 1. The pride of the Dwayne Lucas stable. This is Farm Away on the lead in the Saturday Handicap, their $1 million race out there. This 4-year-old son of Marfa has dominated the handicap division on the West Coast, winning 4 straight graded stakes at Santa Anita, including the Big Cap. His big competition from Florida, well, this is the undefeated Jolie's Halo, the star of trainer Happy Alter there. There's Happy looking pretty spiffy in the hat. Owned by Arthur Appleton, this son of Halo has a perfect 6-for-6 mark in 2 years of racing, including 4-for-4 in 91, dominating the Florida Handicap division, winning the Don and the Gulfstream Park Handicap. But watch out for the champion. Here is Unbridled, last year's 3-year-old king, winner of the year's 2 biggest races, the Kentucky Derby and the Breeders' Cup Classic. Unbridled, for the first time in 91, tested against the champion sprinter Housebuster and blows by him here in the Deputy Minister at Gulfstream, owned by Francis Genner, trained by Carl Nasker, has won almost $4 million. The Oaklawn Park Handicap next Saturday right here on ESPN, 6 o'clock Eastern. What a big event that's going to be. The American Championship Series of Racing comes to ESPN. Steve and Chris, Racing Times, has joined us again. First, congratulations, another easy winner for the Racing Times.
Sometimes it's an easy game.
Let's talk about not only the impact of Kyle Zarmay winning today, but then look ahead to the Oaklawn Park Handicap.
Kyle Zarmay, I think you have to take seriously. So he'll run back in the Wood Memorial. I'm sure he ran very well today. He's back to where he was last fall. Oaklawn Handicap Day, also Racing Times Day. Right. Great day to launch a newspaper. Terrific race. I like Unbridled.
All right, there's the pick already. Unbridled for next week's Oaklawn Park Handicap. Steve and Chris. Stephen, thank you very much. Let's go now back to the winner's circle and gathered there, Tom Durkin and Sandra Neal.
Thank you, Chris. Well, we've been talking about Derby contenders, but I think the race on everyone's lips will occur next week, and that will take place at Oaklawn, and that's the Oaklawn Park Handicap.
What a treat when you can get 3 top-class horses at the top of their game against each other. Jolie's Halo, a confirmed front runner, Farm Away, who likes to get on the lead, but he can rate, and a confirmed stretch runner like Unbridled. This is going to be a bonanza. If you miss this race next week, shame on you.
Tom, what do you think the strategy will be for some of the trainers for this race?
Well, they've got them going pretty good. I don't know that they have to put too much into them or change their strategy like a Carlos Martin had to do today with Mineral Ice. They've got their horses, they know how to run them, and they're going to confront each other next week. Let's go back to Chris.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Sandra. And again, the Oaklawn Handicap, that's next Saturday, week from today at 6 o'clock here on ESPN. And let's look ahead to some sporting activity tonight here on ESPN. As another type of racing, it's the auto racing time. It's Saturday Night Thunder's premiere. ESPN Speed Week at 7:30, Mickey Thompson's Off-Road Championship at 8, and the USAC Midgets at 9. To recap all the thoroughbred racing activity for you, we invite you to join us in the Budweiser Thoroughbred Digest Thursday at